Greetings, it's a Timeshare Traveler. Today is episode 313. Who wouldn't want a better vacation? So, this is for me for a strategy for learning and saving. Why education matters. So I self-taught myself, and then I'm going to the next thing is in the last 4 years, I'm going to go through the new skills that I added each year, and they each added value to my abilities to stay in timeshares. And then I'll walk through how I teach myself. I don't know if that'll necessarily help you, but it's what I do. And then the last thing I want to leave you with is it takes time to implement. Everything doesn't happen overnight, and it's a continuous process. So let's jump right in, and at the end I'll tell you about my channel, but let me talk about why education matters. Like I said, let's first talk about why education matters. First of all, it makes your vacations better. Think about how hard you work at your job or expected to work at your job. Why wouldn't you want to work hard for yourself to make yourself better vacations? And that's really comes down to is you get all the benefits. So we do all this work for other people and so forth, and this is a chance I think to do it for yourself. I mean, it saves you money, and I'll discuss the last four things that I've done over the last 4 years that have actually saved me money and allowed me to do things I didn't realize I could possibly do. And again, each new lesson has saved me hundreds of dollars or more. The other thing is if you save the money, or even if you don't save the money, you can have actually more vacations without having to buy more. And so that's another sort of indirect savings. You can save money on your vacations. Maybe you use it, your budget for more vacations, or you start doing weekend getaways, whatever makes sense, or you just discover that you don't need to spend the extra money to upgrade, to spend more money at the timeshares. You have enough. So let me talk about the last 4 years now. In 2025, I got very active at using my WorldMark credits. I had hooked this up and done it before once, kind of like, but I've been trying to stay at other timeshares like with Hyatt and Holiday Inn, and all of a sudden I realized that I could book them the short stays with booking with my WorldMark credits using Interval International. So again, saving lots of money. Here's an example, and I'll just use from one of my videos, but I could book it with points on Marriott, 1,325 destination points, or about $1,200, or I could book the same exact thing, the same location, everything, on Interval for 2,400 WorldMark credits, which is about $240, plus $179, or for $419. So I saved almost $800, and that was just one example. I have like 4 or 5 of those vacations booked up, and it allows me to stay. First of all, it expands where I can stay, and allows us to stay at certain places I already have points for cheaper. That was 2025. That was my new thing there, and it's been really helpful. 2024, I was booking weekly rates under $400. In fact, I did it for 33 weeks that I booked for 2025, but I learned how to do it in 2024 and carried it over into 2025. So I've actually booked 33 weeks this year for $399 a week. And it's cheaper than having an apartment. Now there are taxes and other fees to it, but it still comes out to about $2,500 a month, which is cheaper than a one bedroom here in Napa, California. So in 2023, I was booking hotels with kitchens for free nights, and I did it for 26 weeks. And again, 4 nights plus I get a free night, so I was even using free nights to get free nights as well. So that was one of the things I did, but the reason I switched to 2024 to the $399 a week is I didn't have that many points at some point. I was using them all up. So 2024 was kind of a way to spend less money without having to use up my free points. And then 2022, I really used Vacasa multiple times, and Vacasa is a Wyndham Rewards site where you can use your points that you've gotten from your owner updates and various other things. And so I was booked a free week in Hawaii with 105,000 Wyndham Rewards points, and this year I used it actually also to book another week as well. So again, those are things that I've learned how to do, and you notice none of those are. I learned how to book the Hilton Waikoloa. I already knew how to do all the basic things like that. I do have some secrets for that, and I've talked about those in the past. But anyway, that's my skills for the last 4 years that I've added, and it has saved me and allowed me to do a lot of things. And how I teach myself, and really, it's just sometimes the websites are intimidating. There's just so much information. It's like it feels like a mountain, and you just don't want to start. And the bottom line, the first step is take the first step, which is read the website, look at all, do the drop downs, check them all out, see what they say, follow them, see what it's there. Some of them are just more informational, and some of them actually describe what you can do. And it's just good to familiarize yourself and get better understanding all the options you have. And again, it's hard to tell when you start what exactly road you're going to go down that makes the most sense. So I just started a holistic approach. And I experiment with many of them, even if I'm not going to use them. If it seems like it's possibly relevant, I'll experiment with the drop-down menu. If it's a way to book items, I will practice booking, but I typically won't book and then cancel. It depends on the cancellation rules. If it's a feature like search, I'll set it up. Even if I don't need it, I'll set it up just to see what happens when it does come. Because I don't like having to do something when I absolutely need it. I'd like to know what it's like before I get there, so when I actually learn how to use it, then I can maybe figure out a way to apply it even better. So if it comes to an elite benefit item, I'll make sure I put it into my plans, and I'll actually try to I have a little list of those things, like free lift rides, I get free room rental, and that's free spend. Those are the ones with Hilton. I have the Monday Madness and the inventory specials I check on a regular basis, just as potential options for me. And again, those are just extra cash that I use, so I don't have to buy more points or credits. So again, that's how I experiment. And if I don't understand something, which I didn't understand the destination exchange part of sort of the Diamond International, I actually had some points I wanted to move into it. I was trying to understand, they have different ways when you try to rent something, what you're doing. So I actually called them, and they were actually able to walk me through what the different types of safes. So now I have a tier 3 vacation set aside for the next 4 years, and I plan to use it for a week. And I wanted to experiment with that, so I put just enough points in there to have a tier 3, and we'll see where that vacation takes me. I have another 3.5 years to use that, and I've periodically been starting to take a look at where I want to go. And again, I have multiple Hilton Grand Vacations, so if I want to book something within the 7-month window and I have points on one side but not on the other, I can call them and then have them move it over. And that's actually saved me quite a bit and gotten me some really cool weekend getaways. So again, those are examples of what I've done to teach myself. And I'm not so great that I don't call the support center to have them teach me how to do it. I find that way better than asking the salespeople. Sometimes I get the hints on what to do from the salespeople as they're trying to tell me why I should buy more. And my last point is it takes time to implement these things. You notice I showed you 4 things I did over 4 years. Why didn't I do them all at the same time? Well, it took me a while to figure out what my problems were and what I wanted to try to solve. So again, it takes the time to understand the features, and you experiment with it, and then if you say, oh gosh, I could use a lot of this, then you roll it out kind of as a full use. And again, sometimes I run into a problem and I'm a little worried about how I'm going to do something, and I search for a way to solve it rather than just throwing more money at the problem by buying more points. And I find that usually one of the timeshares has a way to do what I want, or something close enough that I can make it, or one of the exchanges. So being able to take advantage of all of that. Or again, like I say, I won't necessarily get what I want, but I'll get something similar. Sometimes I understand a feature, but I don't have a need for it right away. I'll just still sort of, it's one of those things, if you know what's possible, when something comes up, you go, oh, I can use that. And again, sometimes learning one feature leads to understanding another. In other words, I booked a last call week, led me to understand how to book a short stay to fill in the gap. So I got a couple of weeks back to back, and I wanted to fill in a gap of like 5 days, and so I was able to use a short stay. So I figured out a reason for that. Now I've been using the short stays kind of back to back. As I travel to and from a place, I might stop and make my journey a little longer. Anyway, hope you liked the video. Don't forget to give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and now I'll tell you a little bit about my channel. Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm the Timeshare Traveler. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of my channel is to educate those who love traveling in timeshares. I've been an owner for 15 plus years at timeshare ownership. I have elite ownership with Marriott, Hilton, and Worldmark. I have published over 100 timeshare video reviews, and I've published over 95 timeshare tips. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, at Twitter Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com.